Hey everybody, welcome back to the Loony Bin. My name is Loony, and today I want to talk about the recent chapter of One Piece. Now, I'm not going to be here to debate whether or not Luffy or Kizaru, which one of them won, what is Saturn's devil fruit or mysterious demonic power. I'm not here to talk about how cool Frankie was, because my god, Frankie, even in the face of Saturn, he's like, my first priority, make sure that Luffy is safe, make sure my captain is safe, and my god, he did an amazing job. He grabbed Luffy, he laughed, he chuckled, because now even the top dogs want Luffy's head. Oh my god, Frankie just rose on my list of favorite Straw Hats, because Frankie's a baller, yo. He doesn't care who he's up against. He's ready to fight. He's ready to save his friends. Yo, man, Frankie has the balls of steel, bro. Holy crap. And I'm also not here to talk about Sanji and what happened with Sanji, because, Sanji's fast, so he should have dodged Saturn's, whatever the ability Saturn used, and stuff like that, because apparently most of Sanji fans talk about how fast he is, and I do say he is fast. He's probably one of the, if not the fastest man in the crew, but, he dodged a jelly bean, so that means he should have dodged this and done this. I'm not here to talk about Sanji either. I'm not here to talk about Shanks' parent, sexy father, and also Kuma's backstory. My god, so sad. I feel so bad for Kuma. His life has been hell, all just because of the blood that runs in his veins. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, poor Kuma. All this time, Kuma has been living a life full of pain and suffering, and it's just so sad. I feel so bad for Kuma. But I'm not here to talk about necessarily that portion of Kuma's backstory. What I'm talking about in this video is going to be about a new character that we were first introduced, and there's a high debate about who this character is. There's three types of people who believe who this character is. The first one we will go over quickly is that some people think this is Crocodile before Crocodile became a boy, which, alright, that whole Crocodile being Luffy's mom theory and all that stuff. Whether or not Crocodile was a female first and then became a boy, that's still up to debate. I'm not gonna argue whether or not that is true or not, because it's still a possibility. I don't think this character is Crocodile, simply because when you look back at the anime, you see that when Ivanka turns a man into a woman, the person's color still stays the same. So I don't think this is a case of Crocodile. Was what Crocodile looked like before that. And there was also the age, I guess, is a big difference. And we actually did see a younger version of Crocodile, like around the same age as when Crocodile would be at this point in time. So it doesn't make sense. So I think it is definitely not Crocodile. I think that's still, the whole idea of Luffy's mom being Crocodile is still chaotic, still crazy to me. So I don't think that's it. The second opinion that a lot of people initially believed when this first character was introduced was that it was Luffy's mom. And why did people think this was Luffy's mom? Simply because of the stick of meat she was eating when she was first introduced. So automatically people assumed and basically connected to Luffy, who also likes to eat meat. So it's just like, oh, this must be Luffy's mom. Oh my goodness gracious. It's people have long wanted to know who Luffy's mom was. There was SBS's and other reports of Oda talking about how, like, Luffy's mom won't be relevant in the story whatsoever, which I don't believe so. I think at some point she will be. There's also the SBS where, like, they talked about how, like, Luffy's mom was in the story, but that was mostly focused on the Don, simply because of the way Oda described Luffy's mom, or like how Luffy's mom would be, is very similar to the description of the Don. So I think he was referring to that, and Oda doesn't necessarily always reveal certain stuff in the SBS's. He wants to keep stuff hidden, so I don't think that's the case either, that Luffy's mom won't be, at least somewhat relevant. There's also that Uta comic, that short Uta comic where we see some woman holding a baby boy with, like, black hair. Some people believe that's Luffy's mom. Still unknown. Still, it could still be a possibility. It's still unknown, so we don't know. But the difference between that and this new character named Ginny, Ginny has freckles. The character in that one little comic strip of Uta, she didn't have freckles, so it doesn't seem like that's the case. And Luffy would have freckles if that was the case, because of genetics and stuff like that. If assuming the freckles became a dominant trait that the mother passes down to the child. The other thing that wouldn't make sense that this would be Luffy's mom is that at the time, Dragon would be 17 years old. This is 38 years prior to where we are in the main story. Dragon at the time is 55. 38 years ago, we'll make him 17. So if there was some sort of relationship between these two characters, it would be really weird. You know, it would be really weird, and just the thought of it was really weird and will make Dragon look very bad. And so I don't think that's the case. I don't think Oda would do that in terms of this. And it just doesn't seem like that's going to be the case, right? We also have, you know, Ivankov. Literally, Ivankov's in the chapter who knows Ginny, and wouldn't, you know, Ivankov notice anything going on between Dragon and Ginny at any point during the time? He would. So him finding out that Dragon has a son shocked him, because it doesn't make any sense. He doesn't know who Dragon fell in love with and stuff like that, right? So it makes no sense whatsoever. And the other thing is that when Dragon first started the Revolutionary Army, that was 24 years ago from, I believe, the current story arc. That could have been during the pre-time skip. I don't remember exactly, but it was 24 years ago when he started the Revolutionary Army. Granted, he could have met Kuma and stuff like that beforehand, you know, Ivankov beforehand and stuff like that. So it's very possible, but we don't know yet, right? We don't know that backstory of how they met. So, but for now, it's just it's just timeline wise, it doesn't make any sense for this to be Luffy's mom. So now we got rid of that part. Let's talk about the third option, which is the most believable and more reasonable option for who this character might be. This character, Ginny, might more than likely be Bonnie's mom. Now, why? Well, this is Kuma's backstory. This is a backstory about Kuma, and technically also, you know, connects to Bonnie. So this would basically be about a story about Kuma's past life and like what he had to go through, which is a lot. It's really bad about, you know, all the stuff that he went through. So it will connect more to him than, let's say, Dragon or stuff like that. You know, if we were to find out anything about Luffy's mom, it would definitely be with Dragon's backstory. So with that in mind, you have to realize that, you know, this is Kuma's backstory. So more than likely, this is Bonnie's mom. You know, Kuma and Ginny are around the same age, so it will make sense that eventually, as they grow older, they fall in love. They, you know, they get together, have Bunny, and then something happens to Ginny. I don't know what happens. It could be connected to why, you know, Kuma decided to, you know, join the world government as a, you know, pacifista. It's very possible. We don't know. We'll eventually find it in the next couple of chapters, hopefully. But, you know, there's that. There's also a bunch of other signs. You know, the hair color could very well be pink. Once it's confirmed pink or something like that, we'll finally know that this is Bonnie's mom. You know, both Bonnie and Ginny seem like gluttons because, you know, when they were first introduced, they were all, you know, eating sticks of meat, right? So it's very well possible that's the case. And, you know, it's very likely that this is the case. It makes a lot more sense than it being Luffy's mom. Now, there's also the names. A lot of people have been talking about the names and stuff like that. Eventually found out that the katakana, it's literally almost the same except for the first katakanas in both names. As you can see on the screen right now, the katakana for Bonnie is different to the katakana for Ginny, but they're almost exactly the same except for the first letters. The katakana for Bo is right there in the beginning of Bonnie's name, and the katakana for Ginny is right there for you guys to see. The fact that these are very close to similar means that more than likely this is Bonnie's mom, and the same way it's written, it's basically almost the same thing. I think this is like undeniable proof that this is going to be Bonnie's mom. It makes so much sense. It's Kuma's backstory. The names are almost similar. The colors of the hair could very well possibly similar. They're both gluttons. You know, all of it just matches up to, you know, it being Bonnie's mom. So I think just that everyone's just so excited about meeting a new character from the past, and everyone just wanted to be Luffy's mom because there's so many mysteries surrounding Luffy's mom. Granted, we don't know if Oda will ever do it because he did mention at some point that, you know, he didn't want to delve into it because it might not be relevant to the story. So who knows? I think he will, but that will probably be in Dragon's past because that's more connection to Dragon than Kuma. than Kuma's backstory. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, Ginny is basically going to be Bonnie's mom. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this specifically is because I've been talking about romance in general for on this channel in terms of like, in One Piece. And this is just another case of Oda going to write another romance story for another character. And he has been doing this constantly, post time skip. Granted, he hasn't done it between Straw Hats, so the Straw Hat ships aren't like still confirmed or anything like that. But he's more willing to write romance. When years ago he talked about like he didn't want to write romance, and that if you wanted romance, go read a shoujo manga, and stuff like that. But he's showcasing that he can write a romance. In an interview with the mangaka for Detective Conan, he was hesitant about romance. He was very nervous about it. He didn't want to write it because he didn't know how people react. But clearly, people have been very accepting to the idea of romance in One Piece. Maybe not necessarily between Straw Hats or the main Straw Hat ships and like ships between Luffy and other characters or Sanji and other characters and stuff like that. But he is willing to go the route of writing romance, and he's done a really good job in that regard. Like, some of the best flashbacks included romance that's like really well written, and he's really good at it. So I think he needs, just some more positive feedback. And if he gets more positive feedback, I feel like he will definitely aim towards eventually writing romance of some sort of kind. Maybe with the Straw Hats, who knows? But this is just gonna be another case of Oda writing romance that will really be well written, and it just shows that he's willing to just add more into it for the people who actually love romance, like I do. I like romance in manga fiction and all that kind of stuff. It's just something that's fun. It gives me warm feelings inside and stuff like that. So it makes me happy. It makes me happy to see that Oda is at least aiming for that kind of stuff. So but yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to watch more of my One Piece videos, and hopefully you enjoy the video. Please like the video so it could YouTube algorithm and stuff like that, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of my reactions, more of my thoughts and stuff like that, and hopefully you enjoyed it. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.